Original Sin by Rosina Bakari. Objectification. Where did it begin? When did men decide they could use women? Just how far back can we document when men became landlords and women occupants? Well, I've been taught to seek answers in the Bible, so I did, and got a pretty good idea just who's liable. I went right back to that story of creation. That's where you'll find the first oblation. See, the purpose of Genesis is to give an account of original sin, to explain where the downfall of man began. So are you ready to hear some truth that could set humanity free, or are you too blinded by religion to believe what your own eyes can see? The story of creation does not contradict evolution. Understanding how they intertwine ignites the revolution, because when considered together, there is a grave conclusion that can explain much of the world's confusion. Imagine Adam and Eve, an apple and a tree existing together in peace and harmony, evolved from the Big Bang, millions of years old. Now, I'm going to slow down because this is not how you're used to hearing the story told. See, Adam and Eve were not single people, but represented their respective genders instead. And God was the consciousness in their heart that represented the purity in their head. So they knew there were things that were good to do and things that weren't, because the intelligence of the universe ran through them like a current. But they also evolved with free will. So they had the choice to create or to kill. So perhaps it was inevitable that given enough time, something would go wrong, since theory of evolution suggests we can't all get along. And in the Garden of Eden, indeed, conflict took place. There is a history that cannot be erased. You may eat from all the garden was awareness for humans' need to copulate, but what was forbidden was for man to perpetrate rape. For the day that you force a woman to have sex with you, you will open the door to all evil. God conscious warned that non-consensual sex would bring great conflict between people. Adam was the first man to ignore God conscious and give humanity a permanent scar. So instead of reaching the highest potential for human beings, Adam lowered the bar. Original sin had nothing to do with an apple and nothing to do with a snake. Non-consensual sex was Adam's big mistake. That's why he ran away, covered himself, and wouldn't show his genitals, while leaving Eve emotionally mental, distraught with feelings of guilt and shame from his disobedience. And yes, this is still today's rape victims' emotional ingredients. Why? Because when Adam was questioned by his own God conscious, what did he say? He held Eve accountable for his actions that day. Then passed that bull down in his DNA. What was she wearing? How much did she drink? Why didn't she run away? This is why we have to rewind this mess all the way back to move humanity forward and get us on track, because throughout the history of the world, we have lived with stories that only men make. So even though the story of creation tells us that Eve was coerced, the erect penis is written as a snake. The snake pushed Eve beyond her spoken limit, as if the word no is never enough. I'm not interested. I don't want to. No matter how a female declines, there's always a rebuff, until by force, intimidation, fatigue, or manipulation, boundaries are inevitably crossed. Penetration by force resulted in more than Eve's innocence being lost. Today, we still use code names to give the penis a seemingly life of its own, to perpetuate the misogynistic interpretations of sex that history has shown. His Johnson, his Willie, his junk does what it wants. So it's a girl's responsibility not to taunt. Poor Mother Eve was the first female to experience rape trauma. As a result, she became a baby mama. She, like many victims today, followed her perpetrator and gave birth to Cain, the first human being whose father was a sexual violator. This could explain why Cain murdered his younger brother, because he picked up on the pain body that was introduced through his mother. See, Adam changed the course of evolution in a significant way by overriding Eve's right to not consent that day. So instead of loving freely, women and sex became commodity, attached to all kinds of oddity, incest, molestation, sodomy, rape, sex slavery, prostitution, and pornography. Ever since rape conflict was introduced by man, every boy and girl born into this world have been damned. We've been damned by the force and voice and choice of everything male, including defining who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. So even when it came time to write about the downfall of mankind, only males got to say what was on God's mind. So the stories of creation and evolution were written consistent with male dominance, slandering and suppressing any and all female prominence. Thankfully, there is just enough of a paradigm shift to read between the lines, where history, psychology, religion, and theory of evolution intertwine to help us decode this destructive male dominance allegory, because we cannot afford to keep taking literal this misogynistic story. Sure, most will prefer to believe in talking snakes and poisonous trees, because recognizing rape as original sin will bring male dominance to its knees. Part 1.